everybody, it is Magic Prepper, and today I just wanted to talk about SHTF started, now what? What do you do after SHTF begins? And if you don't mind, leave a comment in the box below and tell me what it is your plans are for when SHTF starts, so I know you're prepared and I know you're thinking about it. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. So, when SHTF begins, a lot of things can happen, and there's a lot of things going on that would make you wonder, if your plans that you already had from before are actually going to be viable. So you need to have an idea of exactly what your steps are going to be to make sure that what you're doing when that time comes is actually going to help you progress and survive based on the circumstances at hand. So everybody has a few different ideas of what they're going to do at the beginning of SHTF. And when we see that coming and when we see it happen, we have to talk to each other and talk to those we love and make sure they understand what is actually happening and get to the safest place possible. So one of the first things you're going to do is make contact. You're going to contact your family. You're going to contact the ones you live with immediately. And you're trying to get everybody back to home base. You're not going to call everybody and say, hey, meet me at the bug out location. You're going to call everyone and say, meet me at home or meet me in the designated meeting area that you guys chose already. And say, we have to formulate a plan and figure out exactly what we're going to do. Don't tell everybody to meet you at the bug out location because you might not even be bugging out depending on what that scenario that's happening is actually. So, first thing you're going to do is make contact. Call everybody. Call everyone you can, and if the phones are down, bust out those CB radios, and if those aren't working, then just find your way of communication to get to the best possible situation that you can for everybody involved and everybody that you care about. So, you're going to start with family, start with your immediate family, especially because they're the ones who are in your home, and then from there you're going to move on to your mag or your tribe or your prepper group or whatever you want to call it, and make sure that everybody's ready to go and that this whole thing is coming together, because once SHTF starts, it's going to get chaotic really fast and things are going to happen really, really quickly. So, the next thing you want to do is gather intelligence or just get out there and do some recon. You want to find out exactly what's happening. Now, let's be honest. You're going to be watching the TV. There's going to be the news. Things are going to be looking very dire for us to understand that SHTF is happening right now. Unless it's some kind of a big, explosive event like an asteroid striking the Earth. We're going to need the network media to at least let us know something's happening. I'm sure the alternative media is going to be raising red flags and sounding the alarms weeks before that ever happens. But once it goes mainstream, it's actually probably happening because stuff's getting real to the point where they can't placate it or act like it's not happening anymore. So gather as much intelligence as you can. What's the threat? Is there a foreign invasion? Is it a pandemic? Are we having climate change where everything's freezing over or burning up, whichever way you think it's going? Are we having an invasion of dinosaurs? You got to exactly know what's happening for you to prepare the right plan moving forward at the start of SHTF. If we're having a foreign invasion, is your bug out location safer than your current area? Is the invasion where your bug out location is but not where you live? There's a lot of things you have to consider, and you also have to figure out if it's a pandemic or not, because you don't want to leave or be exposed to other people if that's what's happening. So there's a lot of things you have to think about in that scenario, okay? So, get a hold of everybody, then you're going to gather your intelligence. Then, what you want to do is start packing. Get everything packed up and ready to go. I know you guys already have your bug out bags. I know you have everything stashed away and ready to go at a moment's notice. A lot of you Minutemen out there have your loadouts ready to roll, and that's the way I like to see it. But make sure that you're loading up your vehicle. If your vehicle is not loaded, get it loaded. Put every non-essential item in the vehicle that you can, that you plan on bringing with you to a bug out location, or if you just need to bail out in general. Make sure that vehicle's loaded up, ready to roll, so at a moment's notice, if things are looking really bad and you got to bail out of Dodge, you can jump in the truck, jump in the van, jump in the Honda Civic, whatever it is you got, and get out of town. You don't want to have to sit around and start packing. People who are affected by wildfires will tell you right now that sometimes you don't have time to pack. You would be really surprised how quickly those fires move. And sometimes those people who are on voluntary evacuation notice suddenly become mandatory in the matter of like 5 minutes. So make sure you're ready to go. Get those vehicles packed and just start making sure that you can leave as soon as you need to, okay? The next thing you're going to want to do is basically get a form of like security put together. You want to make sure there's like a perimeter. You want to make sure that everybody has a job when it comes to security detail, because in SHTF, as we all discuss on a regular basis, a lot of people are going to be out there looking for what you have. And the people that are going to be scavenging, looting, and doing all the terrible things that we all expect to have happen in SHTF are going to be out and about. And you got to make sure you're ready for that. You can't let them sneak up on you. You can't have people, coming to your neighborhood from miles away with you not even noticing the entire time. Things need to be established so that there's a perimeter of sorts and that you have a watch. A watch detail is going to be very important. It's going to give you an alarm that's going to give you enough advance notice to react however you need to whatever threat might be approaching. And make sure you do that the right way. Don't set grandma out on night watch. She's probably going to fall asleep. And at the same time, don't send a 12-year-old out either because they might make bad decisions. You got to have the right people in the right places and you got to inform that plan now so that you can execute it correctly when this time comes. But make sure you're pushing everybody out the door that needs to be out the door and securing the perimeter and watching over your area, your neighborhood, your bug out location, or whatever it might be, okay? Home base, let's call it, all right? So try to get all your other supplies in order. You need to make sure you have everything in order and that you're scrounging the remaining resources as much as you can. When I say that, what I mean is maybe you're on electricity and your power is still on, but most people's is out at this point. Try to get as much water or try to get as much of your resources out of your home, out of your refrigerator, out of your ground well or whatever it may be, and get it all put away so it's ready to go. Just extract as many resources as you can while you have things like the grid up or while you're able to turn on your faucet or whatever it might be. Okay, get one of those bathtub bags. They're pretty awesome. You can fit, I want to say there's some crazy number, like 200 gallons or something. But basically, you've loaded in your bathtub, you fill it up with your bath water, and you have 200 gallons of water waiting for it at any moment in time at that point. Maybe it's 50 gallons. I don't know. I can't remember. But either way, do those kinds of things. Get ready. Go outside, put fuel in the generator, get your alternative power sources set up, get everything ready to go for a long-term bug-in scenario if possible. Because those items need to be primed and ready, and we don't keep them that way 24/7, 365, because for some of these items, it's not beneficial or not helpful during grid up or regular societal situations, okay? So make sure you're doing that and checking everything that you need to check. I mean, it's very important that you basically take every resource you can and get the most out of it in those moments before SHTF becomes finalized, I guess you might say. And that also goes to things like, maybe going to the store if it's close by and maybe the roads aren't clogged yet. That goes to things like ordering something on the internet, possibly. If there's things falling apart and people like you and I screwed that up, but that's fine, are going to be the people who know things are happening before the general population. So it's very, very possible that something like Amazon might still be up and running for a week or two before everything falls apart. And you might as well get those orders in because, hey, if the UPS guy can bring you some more survival food or some more ammunition or whatever else you might need, just go ahead and grab it while you can, okay? So, that being said, the next thing you need to do is something you can do right now, but then you also need to establish that with the rest of your family or those who are in your group that are at your home base location. And what that is going to be like a security concept, kind of like a cover and concealment concept for what you plan on using that home base for when it becomes a fortress rather than a base. If you get attacked or if people are coming in to try to pull you out, are you ready and do you know the plan for how to establish like a secure location and how to get everybody into position so you can have the most tactical advantage possible? So make sure you have that thought out as well. It's kind of like a fire escape plan that you see in your hotel, except for here's where you stand if you're getting breach entry from the front door. And here's where you stand if people are trying to break in through the back door. Make sure you do those things because somebody that might be in your group or your mag or whatever that comes to your home base might not know the area or the building as well as you do. And you need to establish those positions now to make sure there's less issues of friendly fire and to make sure that everybody has the safest cover possible when able to, okay? Okay, so have you talked to your neighbors? Do you know your street? Do you know your neighborhood? Do you know everybody that lives nearby you? Honestly, I don't even, okay? I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's hard to establish those relationships with your neighbors, especially if they don't want to. So once SHTF starts, that's the opportune time to make something happen and establish yourself as not only a communicator and not only as somebody who's, compassionate to the situation at hand, but as a leader. Walk around in each house. Hey, did you see what's going on? This is getting really bad. We need to prepare for what might happen. What do you need help with? Or is there anything you're worried about? Or is there things that I can help you with? Go to every home and make sure you establish yourself as that voice of authority, but of safety as well. And then those people will come to you when things start happening and have questions. And they'll say, hey, Magic Prepper, I didn't really think about this, but all of my refrigeration is down and all the food we had is ruined. I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, well, let me try to figure out a plan to make sure that you guys can still put food in your mouths, but that the rest of the neighborhood's still getting what it needs too. And when those things start happening, it's amazing how quickly you become team leader, which is a much better position to be in than, the grunt at the very bottom. So make sure you put yourself out there and go establish that connection with your neighbors. If you can do it now, go for it. But if you can't because of circumstance, once SHTF occurs, they're going to be way more open to the idea of you helping them out, especially if you're coming door to door and explaining what's happening and getting them ready for it, okay? So make sure that's something that you basically have in mind to be able to do once that time comes, okay? So you also want to make sure that you don't just automatically bug out. You might need to bug in. And so just keep that in mind. I keep saying it over and over again because I want you guys to remember bugging out is last resort generally, okay? So the situation at hand might not require it. So I don't want you to think you immediately have to leave the neighborhood and get out of town just because you got a bug out bag and just because you have a bug out location and a bug out route and a bug out plan and everything bug out. You need to make sure that you don't leave when you don't have to, okay? So all those things are pretty much what you do first when SHTF starts. If you haven't thought about this already, or if you haven't put together an idea of what it is that's going to be your first actions once that time occurs, make sure you do now. Get everybody on board. Get your mag on board. Get your tribe on board. If you're a lone wolf, try to establish a mag or a tribe if you can. If you can't, try to make sure you have all these things in mind, what you're thinking about once that time comes. Once that emergency broadcast signal goes off, and we all just go, oh, it's really happening. What are you going to do next? Make sure you think about it now. I try to make these videos to give you guys things to think about. Sometimes I might just rant. Sometimes I might show you cool gear. But these are the videos I really enjoy producing because I hopefully get those brain gears turning and help you guys think about what might happen or what might come, okay? So if you have any other questions, comments below, make sure you leave them. I try to respond to every single comment that I can. And if that's going to be it tonight, I'm going to say it is. That's it for Magic Prep.